Hello, Christopher. Can you hear us?
I gotcha.
All right. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. Maybe just give us a quick, opening here on just what has your week been like since you won the race on Sunday, and then have obviously been at home and most likely going through kind of your traditional week with meetings and all. But tell us a little bit about what it's been like to walk into this week as a NASCAR Cup Series winner.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun, and I'll tell you what, it's been really fun to be relevant again. I feel like I've kind of fallen off the face of the earth over the last 12 months or so, but it's really nice to be able to get back and win and talk to all the media like I remember doing, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
All right, and we'll now go to questions for Christopher. If you have a question, please raise your hand within the Zoom platform. And to start us off, we're going to go to Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, good morning, Christopher. Does the win maybe a little aggressive at Homestead that, if you run the top and you squall, okay, it's maybe not as big deal now as it would have been a week ago?
Sorry, Bob, you're cutting out. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I was wondering if the win allows you to be more aggressive, because especially at Homestead where, okay, if you scrub the wall, it might mean a little bit less now than it would a week ago when you look at your season.
Yeah, Bob, that's a great point. And Homestead is definitely a place where risk reward is a huge conversation to talk about at Homestead. We know that there's a ton of speed to get right up against the fence. The Cup cars are very, very sensitive and prone to damage. If you get against the fence, it's really easy to cut a tire. So that's going to be something that's definitely talked about amongst all the teams, and it's going to be fun to see who's going to play with that razor's edge. And I think we're a team that definitely could play with it more than others since we're already won and locked in. But for me, it's going to be about seeing the checkered flag. I still want to make sure that I get to the end, and if it's the closing laps and I've got a shot to win and I'm pushing hard, then I think I'm going to get up there and try and make it happen. But I definitely want to finish.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question will come from Jenna Fryer. Go ahead, Jenna.
Hey, Christopher, cool background. I like all your sponsors there.
Yeah, thank you.
I wanted to go back. You said it's been really fun to be relevant again. What was last year like for you?
Yeah, last year was it was very, very different. Obviously the COVID stuff really changed everything and made it different for everybody. But for me, I never got to talk to any of you guys really. Maybe I talked to you preseason, but then aside from that, I told Claire there last week that I hadn't heard her voice in a long time. And same with you, Jen. I don't think I talked to you in a while. So it's nice to be able to talk to the media again and just be relevant. I said that I wanted to be a factor from the beginning of this year, and it's nice to be able to click off a win early in the season.
When you got back into the Gibbs stuff, what were the first things you noticed or the biggest differences from last year?
I don't know. That's tough. LFR was I don't know. I feel like we had pretty much the same resources. I was in the competition meetings with all the Gibbs drivers, and we knew what setups they had and stuff like that. But definitely our pit crew is extremely strong this year, which was a struggle point for us last year. And Adam Stevens is doing a great job on the
Is that connection bad on my end, or is it bad?
I think it's his.
It's hanging.
Okay.
Problem as well.
Yeah, I think Christopher's connection is bad.
Okay. Christopher, can you hear us? Okay, hang tight. Okay, we've officially lost him, so hang tight with us for a minute and we'll get him reconnected.
All right, I'm back right now.
There you go. Okay. All right.
Sorry.
The last thing I heard you say was your pit crew's better.
Yeah, so my pit crew has been on point this year. So yeah, that's been really fun to be able to work with such a talented group of people there. And obviously Adam Stevens is doing a great job on the pit box and making really good calls and bringing great race cars to the track. But Jason Ratcliffe was a great crew chief too. So, you know, it's hard for me to pinpoint what exactly is the difference maker between LFR and JGR. I would say it's just a little bit everywhere. And yeah, I'm just grateful to be here, and you know, hopefully we can keep the ball rolling.
And lastly, Adam said Sunday he did not think that you guys would win this early in the season. When did you think you'd win?
Yeah, so that's interesting because me and Adam talked a lot during the off season about not trying to get too much too early and not trying too hard too early and get ourselves in trouble with DNFs and stuff like that. And, you know, he kept telling me that, and, you know, I understand that, right? Last year I learned that you can't start off in a giant hole. And last year, I think after the first 3 or 4 races, I was in the 30s in the point standing, and that wasn't great. But on the flip side, you know, I would ask Adam, I'd be like, okay, well, why can't we win at the second race of the season at Daytona Road Course? Like, that race was a great race for me last year. Why can't we win that? And his reply was, there's no reason why we can't. We just don't need to push our issue too hard and making mistakes. So, you know, I think looking at the schedule, we have opportunities to win littered throughout the course of this season. And, you know, there's not really I don't think there's a weak link in the schedule for us at the moment.
Great. Thanks, Christopher.
All right. Our next question will come from Claire B. Lang. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you. Thank you. I talked to your spotter, Stevie Reeves, this week, and I know that all team members talk nice about other members on their team, but I was really sort of blown away by Stevie Reeves and what he said about you. He said that he is a great kid, very refreshing. And he said, I hope fans can see a genuine guy make it. When he talked about more wins coming ahead, it would be good because people could see a genuine guy make it. What does that make you feel when you hear that from your team? And as a young driver leading the team, you have a lot of racing experience in other divisions, et cetera, but what does it mean to be a team leader, and how does winning affect that? The guys already really like you.
Yeah, well, that's really special. And I feel like I put in a lot of effort to be around the guys, try and create those relationships between me and my mechanics, my crew chief, Stevie Reeves, my spotter, which I've worked with for, I guess, 2 years now. But it's so refreshing to, you know, to hear obviously Stevie talk to me like that. And as far as being a team leader, that's one thing that I feel like Adam is really good for me with. Is there's no doubt about it. Adam is the team leader, and I enjoy that. I enjoy working for someone and driving for someone who you know, knows how to run a team, run an organization, and yeah. So it's a dream come true to be able to be a part of this Joe Gibbs Racing 20 group with Adam on in charge of everybody, and hopefully we can keep it going for a while.
And how do you look at Homestead when you look at the race coming up? Do you have more confidence? I mean, you're a confident young man, but things have turned now that you have a win. How do you look at Homestead?
Yeah, Homestead was definitely one that we had circled going into the 2021 calendar year because it was one of my best races last year. I think I finished 8th last year in the LFR car. So I think that we have an opportunity to build on that. And you know, if we go out there and have another solid day, that's going to create really good momentum for us going forward. I really love Vegas. I haven't really had a good run there, but I really enjoy the racetrack, and I think that Vegas and Homestead could be 2 really good races for us.
Good to see you again. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Jacob Seelman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Thanks, Amanda. Christopher, thanks for the time. Kind of following up on a comment you made earlier about the risk versus reward at Homestead. I kind of feel like it speaks to a bigger scope for you, because those of us who watched you on the dirt side saw you be one of the guys who was always really good at balancing the car and finding that edge without necessarily, stepping over it to be able to find success. Have you been able to do that on the Cup side now that you're, working on your second year in? Has that process of kind of finding just how hard you can push it without going too hard started to settle itself out a little bit?
Yeah, I think so, a little bit, but I mean, I'm definitely, or I have crossed over the edge several times, as you know, Jacob, and I'm sure that I will in the future at some point again too. Hopefully, it's not this weekend at Homestead, but yeah, Homestead is definitely a place where that is very apparent, right? There's a lot of speed to be right up against the wall, but it's very risky as well. So fortunately, I'm one of the guys that can sort of throw caution to the wind. So it's going to be fun to see the strategy, how it plays out for us if we are very aggressive, or if we try and yeah, we'll just have to see. I know the stage points are important to us and we want to get a good finish, but on the same token, we really want to win too.
And you mentioned being happy and really being glad to be relevant again. Last year, when you were mired during the down stretch, I know, it can be easy to have those doubts. Did you have any of those at different points during the year last year, or was it easier to mitigate that a little bit, just knowing that it was your first season and there was so much to learn?
I mean, yeah, it was pretty hard to mitigate it. So it was a low point in my career for sure. I know I've said that time and time again, but yeah, you just start doubting yourself, and in the sport, you're kind of labeled as you're only as good as your last race. So fortunately, right now I'm a winner, so I'm on top of the world. But last year it wasn't looking good for me, and I think a lot of people had probably written me off. So I'm glad to prove those guys wrong, and yeah, I'm so excited to be where I'm at, and I think we have an opportunity to run well at all these racetracks, and I don't think we're done winning yet.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Luis Torres. Go ahead.
Thank you, Amanda. Christopher, this is something I had in mind to say during Sunday, that you come quite a long ways from having that early success in the Truck Series in 15 before jumping to full-time, where it started off a little bit rough. Now, several years later, you got that win in the Cup Series. Do you remember those time periods where things were going rough before you got a full gist of this NASCAR program?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've learned from the very beginning that you're only as good as your race car. You're only as good as the guys around you. And like looking back at my 2015 truck races, I was able to win at Eldora. Obviously, I was still young and had some learning curves to go through. But then moving forward to 2016 in the Truck Series, it was me and William were the two full-time drivers. William was paired up with Rudy Fugel, who is I'm not going to call him the A team, but they were really good, kicking on all 8 cylinders. And then I was with Jerry Baxter, and we started off strong. Well, at Daytona, I actually flipped, so that wasn't great. But Atlanta was a great race for us. I think I led the most laps and was in the lead coming down to the end and blew a tire. And that really knocked the wind out of our sails. And, Rudy and William were able to take off, and I think they won the next race, and they were able to win 4 or 5 more races that year. And I struggled to get going and only won once. So I learned way back then that it's very important to have a great team behind you and make the most of those opportunities. So yeah, I've been I've been taught early in my NASCAR career that it's the people that make or break you, and I'm very fortunate to be able to drive for the groups that I have at Kyle Busch Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing.
Speaking of people helping you, David Wilson pretty much praised you heavily on just for that win alone and just being around the program for a decade that goes back to your dirt days. Just describe how gratifying that he's been a part of your career.
Yeah, it's man, this win has been so big, just not only for me personally, but it's been so fun to see how much it meant to so many different people. David Wilson obviously being at the very pinnacle of that, but David Wilson, Tyler Gibbs, Jack Irving from the Toyota side, all of my dirt teams that have given me opportunities, and all the people that have really put their money on the line to risk it in me and believe in me. And it's just been really fun to see how much my win meant to so many different people.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you, Amanda and Christopher. Thank you for joining us today, and congratulations again. Kind of curious, from your dirt background, who did you receive congratulations from that might have surprised you the most?
Yeah, Lee, I would say from my dirt background, that's tough. Obviously, all my mentors, Rick Ferkel, Pete Willoughby, Keith Coons text me, which me and Keith obviously have a really great business relationship from a crew chief driver standpoint. But we don't really have much of a personal relationship. Like, we don't really communicate very often. And he texts me, so that was really cool to hear from Keith. Trying to think who else. Had a bunch of drivers congratulate me. That was really special. I didn't expect that many drivers to congratulate me. Yeah, it's tough. My phone was completely blown up on Sunday evening. I think I had over 300 text messages. So it was pretty surreal, and it was, yeah, just like it hit me hard knowing how much it meant to so many different people.
And Adam Stevens, have you tried to kind of confer with him as to what you want out of your Bristol car? I mean, it's like the great unknown, right? Even with your stout dirt background, we're going into something no one else has done before. And so how are you guys kind of getting on the same page to try to figure out what you're going to need once you get there? Because that's probably one of your favorite tracks to begin with, and just kind of wondering, how do you pull all those pieces together?
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and I don't really think anybody knows exactly what to do. But I would say the biggest source of resources that we have is Kyle Busch Motorsports, just from their truck standpoint of running the trucks on the dirt. I think Adam's really going to be leaning on that group to kind of guide us in what we need in our race cars. So speaking of that, Rudy Fugel is obviously over at Hendrick now, so he's got a pretty good eye of what they need to.
Appreciate your time.
No worries.
Okay, we're going to take another question, and this time we're going to go to Marty with RSN Trackside. Go ahead, Marty.
Thanks, Amanda. Hey, Christopher. Hope you're well, and congratulations on Sunday's victory. I want to continue on that topic of the Bristol Dirt, because some of the local drivers did a test session, testing out a modified and a stock car and truck, and they were quoted saying that it's a blast, the fastest they've ever went, and that the drivers can actually go wide open in the turns. I know a cup car is heavier than these regular dirt machines, but any takeaways you noticed, or did you happen to watch any of that test session that took place?
Yeah, Marty, I actually haven't got to see video of it. I've had several people tell me about it, so maybe as soon as I'm done with this call, I'll go check it out. But it's going to be really interesting to see how the cup cars handle it. I know, like you mentioned, they're a lot different than modifieds and late models. So the racetrack is going to be really, really the biggest piece of the puzzle, how well it's going to handle the stock cars on it, the heavy stock cars on it, and how well it's going to go through the course of the afternoon. I think it's a 2:30 start time or something around there. So the sun's going to be out, and that's going to be a big deciding factor on how the track's going to shape up.
And with the news of Chris Windom joining Rick Ware Racing for that race, how welcoming are you of having a dirt slinger like him come in for a one-off? I spoke with Kurt Busch. Johnny said he's welcoming to have any dirt drivers come on in. How welcoming are you for having him in?
Yeah, it's going to be fun to have Big Daddy racing with us. I've been teammates with him now for a couple of races from the midget side. So he's going to give us a run for our money, that's for sure.
Thanks for your time. Good luck, Christopher.
Thanks, Marty.
Okay, we have time with one more question, and for that question, we're going to go to Eric Smith. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda. Christopher, we've heard athletes in like stick and ball sports, for lack of a better word, talk about the 24-hour rule, whether that be highs or lows after a game or even a race. How hard is it on a NASCAR side to go through last year? How long did it take you to get over some of those races? As you said, you're only good as your last race. And now that you've won, how long do you allow yourself to relish a win and before you have to turn the focus back to Homestead?
Yeah, so I would say it's tough, man. And that's one thing that I've really struggled throughout my NASCAR career is you only get one race a week. And growing up dirt track racing, I was accustomed to running 80 to, I think I did with 100 races a year. So whenever you have that big of a schedule, if you have a bad night, typically you're either racing the next night or a couple nights later. But on the NASCAR side, you get one opportunity and then you have to wait 7 days at best. And if you have an off week, you got to wait even longer than that. So that's been a huge change from dirt racing to NASCAR, which makes it amazing whenever you win, right? Because you get more time and you're a winner longer. But yeah, on the flip side, whenever you have bad days, you just can't wait for the next opportunity to come and race. So as far as, learning from the bad days and dropping them and getting them behind you, I'm not very good at that. But definitely by the time you get into the race car the following week, you got to be that has to be behind you and you have to be looking forward. Then on the flip side, whenever you win, hopefully I can carry this momentum for a while and yeah, winning always helps your confidence, and confidence make you a better race car driver. So whenever I strap in the car on Sunday at Homestead, I'm definitely going to be knowing that I was the winner last time I got into this game.
And a really quick follow-up, you've won a lot of big trophies in your career, from 3 Chili Bowls, Turkey Night, Midget Champion, Truck Champion. Where does this one rank as far as your achievements so far?
Man, it's got to be right up there with the top. I mentioned this earlier in the call too, but it's just so crazy how much this win meant to so many different people. And yeah, it was a big one for sure. I think that 300 number of text messages that I got was probably bigger than any other win I've had. So it's right up there with the top for sure.
Thanks, Chris. Good luck this weekend, man.
Thank you, Eric.
All right, Christopher, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you joining us, and we wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you everybody for hopping on here and taking some time to talk to me. So it's good to see everybody again.